Um, I've done my own investigations of serial killer murder sites, and I was on the documentary Conversations with a Serial Killer about Richard Trenton Chase, aka the Vampire Sacramento. Um, anyway, the investigations that I did, and I'm going to run it by you, and some of the evidence that I captured. Um, Gerald and Charlene Gallegos. Um, we went to Sunrise Mall where they actually kidnapped a young girl and told her that she was going to become a model and they were going to take photos of her. So they walked over to Charlene walked her over to the van, and Gerald grabbed her and tied her up, and God knows what they did to her. But anyway, we got an EVP at the parking lot at Sunrise Mall. Was a young girl's voice, and she said no, no. And then another investigation we did was Doretha Puente. We went to F Street boarding house, and we captured orbs above the house. Orbs can be almost anything. It could be dust. It could be dewdrops. It could be light refractions. So that one was inconclusive. We did Charles Ng and Leonard Lake. We went to where the cabin was. They destroyed the cabin, but we had Holly DeLauder there, who was the secretary of Sylvia Brown, and she said, take a picture over here, and we captured a mist out in the middle of the woods that was almost in the form of a human. And so that was our evidence that we got with that photograph. Roger Kibbe, aka the I-5 Strangler, we went to I-5 and Sutterville, where he had taken a woman over there, pulled out a pair of scissors out of the glove compartment, and started snipping at her dress. We took a bunch of pictures over there, and one of the investigators captured a picture of a black orb hovering over the Sacramento River. And I kind of think that could be the spirit form of his victim. Morris Solomon Jr., aka the Handyman, a bunch of orbs, that could be almost anything. Richard Trenton Chase, aka the Vampire Sacramento, the one house where he killed the whole family. We took pictures inside the house. No one wants to live in that house, just to let you know. And we got all kinds of mist in that house. I believe that the residual effects of that murder replays itself over and over and over again. Randall Woodfield, aka the I-5 killer, we didn't get any kind of evidence. San Francisco Zodiac, we went to Lake Berryessa where he killed that young girl in front of her boyfriend by stabbing her to death. We saw a rock that started glowing, and I think that has something to do with the murder over there. We went to the home of Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., aka the Golden State Killer, and got nothing because he didn't murder anybody at his house. He was murdering them at their house. So, but I just wanted to run that by you. And that was my investigations of serial killer murder sites. I even went to a Jack the Ripper candlelight tour over in London.
So is this a series that's available to people?
It's in my articles and my books.
Oh, it's not a video?
No.
EV series?
No.
Oh, that sounds cool. I know a lot of these cases you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Like some of the serial killers that are mentioned in your documentary, what are some of the serial killers that are featured on there?
Oh, all the famous ones. I probably would like to stick more to the paranormal than talk about the serial killers, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I have a question before you do. I have a quick question, and that is here. Are we considering serial killers crazy people, but they're still human beings, or are they other kinds of beings?
You want my hit on it? I think that their, let's just call it their psychological makeup, if you, for short, for, although it's not the same for everybody, that it's on a spectrum and we all have a little bit of it. Does that make sense to you?
Try to give me some more details.
So right now I'm not into binary distinctions. I think these phenomena that we talk about, being on the spectrum, is really true. We're all a little bit on the spectrum, some more than others, and that what it takes to be a serial killer, we all have a little bit of it, some more than others. The reason maybe it's been conserved is that back in the day when there was tribal warfare and you needed to go kill the neighboring tribal members, mutilate their women, you needed certain people that could do that. Not everybody can do it easily, and so it's part of who we all are in some way. Just in some way, some of us have more than the other.
We have Ron, we have Mark, we have Paul and Jean. You're in
The Paracast.
It reminds me of the motto for an Inner Sanctum movie I remember from back in the 1940s, saying, and yes, even you can commit murder. I'm going to look up the film.
Well, let's go back to your definition. They're either crazy or something else. And basically what that does is that just solidifies the self-other idea. So I cannot possibly be a serial killer because I'm not crazy, and so they're other than me. And what I'm hearing when Ron's talking about this is that not making any binary ways of descriptions. Instead, that we can't say to serial killers, "You're other." They're humans, like we are. And if we make these distinctions with serial killers, the next thing you know, we're making distinctions on race, we're making distinctions on gender, we're making distinctions on intelligence, weight. And so now we're back into that paradigm which we've lived in for millennia, self and other. And in the 21st century, partly because of the internet, partly because we have so much information coming at us, we actually have a chance to redefine this and get rid of this idea of self and other, and actually look at ourselves as a human race, which opens up endless possibilities in terms of the ability to create new technologies, for example, create new types of relationships that are inclusive instead of exclusive.
I would echo what Mark's saying. I think that's correct. Get rid of these binary distinctions. Everything's on a spectrum. Like intelligence is on a spectrum. But it's also in the eye of the beholder, and it's also situational. So there's at least two other components that are on that spectrum, the observer and the situation. So, the situation, somebody who would never be a serial killer might have to do that, like when they sent the Japanese people to China to see the Chinese as the other, and it's okay to kill and rape and maim them. They would never have done that before they left and went to China. So I think there are plenty of examples like that.
Here's another example of that. Pre-Vietnam War, when statistics were taken about World War II and people who were in the military, the Army, the Marines, and the regular soldiers, it was discovered that 1 in 10 in historian about this, so I trusted him. He's a good man. Somewhere between 1 and 10, around 1 and 10 soldiers actually fired their weapons at the enemy. And this was also seen during the Civil War. But from the time of the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the military changed its training. And you get to the Vietnam War, and suddenly 50% of the soldiers are firing their weapons with the intent to kill the enemy. So somehow, in that span of 15 years or 20 years, from the end of 1945 to the beginning of the Vietnam War in 1965, or at least America's overt involvement in it, you have a mental switch happening. And suddenly these soldiers are looking at the Viet Cong and the Vietnamese as other. They're not Americans, they're not human, we can shoot them easily. Before that, soldiers had reservations about killing another person.
So one more example, do either of you guys have kids? Question?
Are you talking to Gene?
I'm talking to you, both of the hosts. Either of you have kids?
Oh, yes, I have a son and a daughter.
And the other guy?
I am the other guy. I come here from another planet.
Do you have kids?
Strange world. Yeah, I have one son.
So, let's consider this hypothetical. There are 4 people that have control of your kid, and they're torturing your kid and bringing great pain upon them. Would you do whatever you could to manipulate them, maybe even to kill them, to free up your kids so that they would become free of this pain, maybe even kill them? Would you do that?
Well, I'm a veteran, so I went into the Army thinking that I was going to go to Vietnam. I'm a Vietnam era veteran, 1973. So I had a mindset knowing that I may go to war and have to kill somebody.
So the answer is yes, you could
Yeah.
possibly, but
Oh,
could
yeah.
you lie, steal, and cheat and do anything you could possibly do? Maybe even have to torture the torturers to get them free? Would you do that?
Anything to save my family, yes.
Okay. So you have a little bit of that, what goes on, the psychopathy of a serial killer in you, and so do I. I mean, I would do that too.
Well, look at Brian Craig.
Yeah, but excuse me. But self-defense or defending a member of your family, how would that be akin to being a serial killer?
Because you're using the techniques of the serial killer. You could torture them. Let's say you had to torture one to tell you where they're holding the son or daughter. You could do that. You could kill them. Move on to the next one if there were another one you had to get to. Do all the things that without feeling guilty or remorse. And I'm just suggesting to you that we all have a little bit of psychopathy behavior. You know, maybe in simpler circumstances where we're pinned in a business situation, you'd lie and cheat and throw the other person overboard to push yourself forward or somebody else forward.
Yeah.
I'm just making the sense.
But yeah, serial.
Let me throw something out here. It reminds me of a TV series called City on a Hill. Main star being Kevin Bacon. He plays a rogue FBI agent. And there's a scene towards the end of the first season, a spoiler, where he learns that one of his criminal informants raped his daughter. And when he gets that confession and finds out why, and somehow the informant was striking back at him, he takes his gun and shoots him in the mouth. And then he just walks away as if nothing happened.
Yeah, good.
So that guy, so basically, Kevin Bacon portrayed a serial killer, even though he was an FBI agent.
Sure, so there's a bit, these are all kind of arguments for saying, this is on a spectrum. And, most serial killers most of the time aren't killing anybody. They're probably manipulating people, but they're not killing anybody. When they're psychopathic, you're always manipulating. It's a way of getting around. It's part of it. Part of the syndrome.
Yeah, and serial.
It reminds me of the Inner Sanctum Mystery movies again, starring Lon Chaney Jr. from the 40s. Yes, even you can commit murder.
But yeah, I mean, if you're put into a situation where your family's going to die by the hands of these unknown assailants, yeah, sure, you're going to defend your family, you're going to protect them, you're going to do whatever is possible and try to kill these crazy guys trying to kill your family. But a serial killer, they go around wanting to kill innocent people. Like the Golden State Killer and Brian Kohlberger, who was going to school in criminology. He was teaching classes and everything else, and he goes and kills 4 people, students over in Idaho. They have a whole complete mindset.
Let's go into more mindsets.
So,
Ron,
I don't think...
I got to end this segment. With Paul, Ron, Mark, and Gene, you're in
the Paracast.
As we completed our last segment, talking about serial killers, Ron had something to say. Go ahead, please.
Briefly, I don't think Kohlberger was a serial killer. I think he was more along the lines of a mass murderer. But can we get off this? I think it's not helping what we're here to do is to promote, to some extent, our books and movies.
Well, we don't have to focus on serial killers.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of it.
Tell us about Jesus had a near-death experience.
Mark, you haven't talked in a while.
Well, let me give you a little bit of setup. So, Ron and I have written numerous books together. We've been writing together, either writing novels or working with his company, Center Communications, doing educational videos, documentaries, edutainment series for about, almost 30 years now. And so we had just finished the Bigfoot revisited book, and Ron comes up to me and he says, what if Jesus had a near-death experience? So we're at coffee at one of our favorite places here in Boulder called the Brewing Market, and we start having this discussion about this, and the next thing you know, we've got like about a zillion pages of notes on it, and we just started sort of writing, not with a specific outline or structure in mind, just as bringing ideas in and creating characters and scenes, and lo and behold, this book starts to take shape with this idea that Jesus
had Odysseus in Greek.
Well, yeah, I will, but with this idea, the overall idea was this idea that Jesus was a normal person, but he had this incredible experience which opened him to knowledge that is from another dimension, from a higher plane. And there are people throughout history, Moses, Muhammad, Christ, Lao Tzu, the Buddha. There are non-religious people like Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, or Lao Tzu, that have similar experiences, where they seem to download this information that is incredible and helpful to the human race. So at any rate, how did this happen? How did Jesus Christ have this experience? Well, Ron comes across a book, talks about the Eleusinian schools in Greece where people would go, they would undergo privation, hardship, they would have some kind of a perhaps a drug-induced experience where they would literally become in contact with this other dimension. Information would be downloaded into their brains, and the next thing you know, you've got Euclidean geometry, you've got Plato's ideas, Socrates. All these individuals are coming up with these incredible breakthroughs in math, in science, in literature, in government, and so we thought, what if that also applied to Christ? And what if we expanded it as something that people are looking for from 2,000 years ago to the present? And that was the basis of the book.
And we wanted to turn it into a thriller.
Yeah.
Where some people discovered a way of inducing medically induced near-death experiences to get new powers, get new information, and there's a competition for this technology among 4 camps, and that's sort of the basis of the book, that these 4 competing aspects of people want to do something with this new technology of producing medically induced near-death experiences, and it starts with death and loss, as good thrillers do.
And this is important to understand that the Eleusinian schools, they actually created a near-death experience for people to be able to connect with this other realm. We're not positing that that's the only way you can connect to the other realm, but for the purposes of Jesus had a near-death experience, that's what we were looking at. That's the vehicle we used.
By the way, there was a movie out many moons ago called Flatliners. You guys ever see it?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It was produced by Michael Douglas, believe it or not. Directed by Joel Schumacher, who destroyed the Batman franchise. It starred Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, William Baldwin, Oliver Platt, and Kevin Bacon. And of course, this was it. They would basically give a person a shot of electricity to make them temporarily clinically dead. And somewhere towards the end of the film, one of the stars dies anyway. It wasn't a bad film. It actually almost made a little money at the box office. This is from 1990.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of an exploration of what we're talking about.
And virtually everybody in that film became a big star.
Yes. Did you ever meet Kevin Bacon?
Well, of course, I've read about him, and of course, we all talk about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
So can I tell you a story about that, just for a fun story?
Yes.
So, we were at our annual neighborhood picnic out in our cul-de-sac, and for some reason, the 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon came up amongst the group, and I hadn't heard of this before, surprisingly, being kind of an idiot. And when they were talking about that, and I said, oh, by the way, I know Kevin Bacon, and I've interacted with him at the couple of movie conferences. In fact, I got a nice, a friend of mine wanted an autograph, and he gave me one. And all of a sudden, everybody screamed, 2 degrees, 2 degrees. I wonder what in the heck were they talking about? You know, now they had 2 degrees of separation. They knew somebody who knew Kevin Bacon. And I had no idea what they were talking about till I told my wife about it, and she said, you idiot.
Well, even in the professional world, take Tom Cruise. How does he line up with Kevin Bacon? They were co-stars in A Few Good Men, as one example.
So yeah.
okay, we line up, for example, another example, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. How do they line up with Kevin Bacon? They are the producers of the TV series City on a Hill that starred Kevin Bacon. So I see where this goes. I understand he actually takes it in the stride.
Yeah, I never, so I didn't know anything about the phenomenon we're talking about. It seemed like I'm the only person in this modern world that didn't know that. So everybody went away happy that they were now only 2 degrees separation from Kevin Bacon. They knew somebody who knew Kevin Bacon.
Okay, and the other one here, of course, is the TV show The Closer, starring Kara Sedgwick. What's her connection? She is married to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, it's... Yeah,
I mean, this guy is everywhere.
well, there you go.
But
Yeah,
the question remains, you could probably do that with most any famous person. You could get that 6 degrees and link them either to Kevin Bacon or to any other famous person, because famous people travel in the same circles.
And certainly anyone who does a superhero and or comic book movie
Yes.
would find lots of people, because lots of A-list actors appear in those films.
Right.
So somewhere at a Comic-Con convention, or in the film they're in, or its predecessor, will fit that category. Mark, Paul, Ron, and Jean, more degrees coming, you're in.
The Paracast.
You gotta think, guys. We talk about virtually everything on the Paracast, before serial killers, Bigfoot, dimensional portals, Kevin Bacon and the 6 degrees. Oh well. I don't know Kevin Bacon. I can't say I know anyone who does know Kevin Bacon. I may be proven wrong.
Now you do.
Oh?
Yeah, I know.
Where's Paul? You know
Right.
Kevin Bacon, right?
No, I don't know Kevin Bacon, but I have met a lot of celebrities.
Right there. One of those people, no doubt, ran across Kevin Bacon.
Well, back in 1979, I was a dancer for Jeff Kutash's Dance Machine in Lake Tahoe, and we were the first number to share.